So I wanted to take a few minutes with this video to talk about several interesting PlayStation 5 stories. I don't really have a number here for this video because it's a good chunk to talk about. And if you could hit that like button on the video, thank you to those that do it. And as always, it's very much appreciated. Now, the stories I wanted to cover today includes the major interviews that went down with PlayStation boss Herman Hulst discussing the future of PlayStation, including Day One PlayStation PC titles, PlayStation's mobile push, Sony still set to produce PS4 and PS5 games. This one was a bit frustrating to hear. Sony still set to produce AAA single-player games, Sony X from software future work, and more. Beyond that, there's also the PlayStation Google situation as well, and the latest PlayStation 5 update. First, yes or no, do you game on PC at all? It's been a while since I've asked this question. I'm wondering if anything has changed with you guys. I personally still just game on console. Do you still only game on PlayStation, or do you game on PC now as well? So comment below, yes or no, if you game on PC at this point or not. Let me know down in the comments below. Now, diving into the interview situation, the PlayStation Studios boss Herman Hulst recently sat down with multiple publications discussing the future of PlayStation and what they're doing right now. I'll have multiple links below for you guys to check out the information yourself in full, but I'm going to go over the highlights here. Otherwise, this would obviously be like a 30-minute video. So let's dive into the first interview with Axios. Here, we had Herman Hulst talking about several things, obviously, with one of them being the 12 multiplayer games set to be released by 2025. He mentions not all of these will be original titles. Some will be a part of existing franchises, which makes sense since we have Factions 2, Last of Us coming, Twisted Metal, rumored to be coming, Helldivers 2 is probably going to be a games as a service as well. And we also have the rumored Horizon multiplayer games. All of those are existing franchises that are set to be multiplayer titles. There's a lot coming for multiplayer from PlayStation, which I personally like. They haven't really talked or tackled this area as much since the PlayStation 3 era, so this is exciting for me. Herman does remind people that even though they're making multiplayer games, single-player games are their bread and butter. More of those, of course, will still always be coming. Herman then talks about PC and their push there. As we've seen, he also mentions how PC porting actually helps them invest more money into their internal studios to produce new games, which obviously makes sense and is great to hear. Mobile is just starting up at PlayStation, and work with external partners is happening, along with them acquiring Savage Game Studios, which is the first studio a part of the new PlayStation Mobile studio setup. So they're currently looking into other studios, but they're also working with external partners to start producing PlayStation IPs in the mobile arena. Then he mentions PlayStation 4 players and how they don't want to leave them behind, which translates to money. For anyone thinking they're being considerate here, this is all about money, obviously. Herman mentioned that there are a lot of active PlayStation 4 players, and on a case-by-case basis, they might bring games to PlayStation 4 beyond 2022, which is a no from me. We got to stop this. 3 years later, and we still have cross-gen games. No, it's past the time to move on. We gotta start moving on to current gen only games. They end off the article talking about the near future of PlayStation and how PlayStation Studios are working on delivering games for PlayStation VR 2's launch, which is interesting to read. We have Horizon, Call of the Mountain, obviously, but what else could be coming from internal studios? I'm really curious about that. Moving on to the Reuters interview. With these interviews, some of the same things are being said, obviously, so I'm not going to repeat the same things being said in previous interviews. So to continue, first up, the From Software investment. Sony recently took up, I believe, 14% ownership of From Software, and Herman Hulst here mentions the collaborations on the gaming side being the most important with From Software, but they're also open to working with FromSoft on movies or TV shows using PlayStation Productions. People saw this and wondered if they produce a show or a movie for Bloodborne, they might actually finally release a remaster for the game or a remake. I think this could happen, obviously, similar to how The Last of Us got remade for the show, and Horizon Zero Dawn is rumored to get remastered for the upcoming show, I assume. But you guys let me know if you think Bloodborne will ever get a remaster at this point or not. Let me know down in the comments below. But to continue the Reuters article, they then mentioned that analysts see further studio buyouts past their current 19 studios, which makes sense since many are still waiting to see what happens with Sony and Square Enix. There's clearly something going on there. They also mentioned here internal studios working on PlayStation VR 2 titles, which again, I'm curious what other games are being made internally. I hope Blood and Truth 2 is there somewhere. Moving on to the Famitsu article, again, not repeating here what's been said in previous articles. First thing, Herman Hulse mentions that PlayStation is the best place to play their games and that the move to PC is simply to acquire new users, which is obvious, but I personally don't know how long that statement can last if they launch those games day one on PC, which we'll have more information on later in the video. There's more talk on the PC situation there. The translation could be off, but they also talk about mobile first games and if they'll come to consoles, and Herman Hulse seemingly replies saying that's a possibility and that crossplay could be a thing with mobile. To me, this sounds like those games as a service titles landing on console, PC, and mobile, like Fortnite, for example. So maybe some of Sony's mobile titles could land on console as well with upped visuals, and maybe some of those console gas titles could land on mobile. I think that's what I'm understanding here. Also, apparently multiple internal studios are using Guerrilla Games' Decima engine, which was used for Horizon Forbidden West and Death Stranding. This is interesting. It's clearly a great engine, but I wonder what other internal studio is using it as well. I don't think we've seen a hint to that in terms of job listings. In terms of Horizon Call of the Mountain, Herman Hulse confirmed it's set to launch next year, and I think many of us guessed it'll be a launch title. It's just nice to hear that that's the case. Going back to cross-gen titles on PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5, Herman Hulse confirms Spiderman 2 is a PlayStation 5 title, which is great to see confirmed again, since it was already confirmed by Insomniac, but of course, you never know, things could change. It's just nice to hear again it's a PlayStation 5 only title. And finally, the YouTube interview with Club JV. Again, not going to repeat what's been said in other interviews we've already covered. First highlight here is Herman Hulse fully confirming a time frame between PS5 and PC titles, saying that they will launch on PC about a year later after the PlayStation 5 launch minimum, it seems. This line is getting closer and closer that I personally wonder if day-and-date titles will happen at one point, which brings me to the next point. Live service PlayStation first-party titles will land on PC day one alongside PlayStation 5. This one I'm happy about personally. I've been saying this for a while now and have been and have gotten a pushback from the PlayStation community. Live service titles are not single-player titles. They need a community to thrive, and I want factions to thrive day one, so I'm happy to hear this. Seems like it's going to land on PC day one. He also emphasizes here again that single-player titles are their bread and butter, and he wanted to make that clear for anyone worried. Going back to the cross-platform topic, alongside Spider-Man 2, Herman Hulse confirms Wolverine is also PlayStation 5 only, and that's everything important from the multiple interviews that went on recently with Herman Hulse. Now, moving on to the Google PlayStation story. I wanted to cover this earlier on, but couldn't fit it into the last video, but recently we saw a report about Jim Ryan flying over to Brussels to voice concerns to the European Union regulators on the Activision Xbox deal. The extreme Xbox fan base went overdrive on this topic, talking about how Jim Ryan is crying, and I don't understand this usage. Why wouldn't Jim Ryan do what he can to help PlayStation, the company he works for? So this seems to be just a part of his job. I honestly wonder if this deal doesn't go through, will these extreme Xbox fanboys be fine? I don't know if they'll break down. Even without Activision, Xbox still has 23 game studios. Why not focus on those and push Xbox to produce more frequent titles from those studios? A lot of great studios under Xbox already. What's interesting though is seeing this new Xbox website that recently went live discussing the benefits of the Activision Xbox deal, and it was weird to see. Why do you need a site like this if you're confident the deal will go through? I honestly thought it was going to go through no problem, but seeing this site go up after hearing Jim Ryan went to voice concerns makes me wonder if there was actually an impact there. If it wasn't Jim Ryan, it could be Google with Stadia shutting down in January. They apparently are also voicing concerns to the European Union regulators about the Activision Xbox deal. Something clearly pushed Microsoft to create that benefits site. And I'm curious to see how this all plays out next year. The video was going to end here, but apparently Sony released an update this morning for PS5, update 6.00 8.01. It improved system performance, so nothing really interesting unless someone finds those small changes sometimes between these firmware updates like this one. But you guys let me know if you think the Xbox Activision deal will go through or not. Let me know down in the comments below. And if you guys did enjoy this video, please hit that like button, as it always helps, and subscribe if you're new. I got new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and now I'll check you guys out on the next one. And welcome back to the after show. This is the part of the video where we have a little fun. Down in the comments below if you're old, welcome back. If you're new, welcome. For today's thing, what I want you guys to do is to body, obliterate, destroy, and overall harass the comment section with where is that showcase. We are in October. Hopefully the showcase happens this month. According, there's a bunch of little reports and rumors going around. If you're excited for the potential showcase, destroy the comment section with where is that showcase, and I'll definitely heart those comments like I always do, because I appreciate everybody who stays to the end of my videos. And now I'll check you guys out on the next one.